The Island Boys' inner clout goblin has infected their minds, and it's shocking. They've been engaging in provocative displays of affection for views and have recently launched an OnlyFans account together, which makes it safe to say that they've officially resorted to incredibly desperate and degenerate measures in an attempt to stay relevant. Because just 2 years prior, they were raking in millions of dollars, buying expensive jewelry and flexing their extravagant lifestyles. However, they're now submerged in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, with no views and no future. On the surface, the Island Boys are all glitz and glamour, often seen in luxury cars, and flaunting a good life on social media. But if we take a closer look, a completely different picture emerges. According to their manager, the Island Boys were not as rich as they acted. In fact, they were broke. Because in reality, most of these outward displays of wealth are simply a facade. Many of the cars they pose in are rented, the expensive-looking items merely leased, and the penthouses or villas are not owned, but borrowed or rented for video shoots. They didn't have the money. In fact, they owed a lot of it, and it was costing them.
Right now, there's no more money coming in.
Right.
I know for sure. And people think they got millions of dollars, they don't.
Following those revelations, the hype eventually started to fade. They found unconventional and often shocking ways to keep the spotlight on them. One of their most controversial stunts recently involved them kissing each other on camera. The internet blew up with reactions, which certainly gave the attention they sought, though not necessarily the kind they might have wanted. The brothers defended their act as a non-sexual expression. Still, many couldn't overlook the eyebrow-raising front of two twins kissing so passionately. Another avenue they explored to maintain relevance was by creating an OnlyFans account, a platform known for its explicit content. Promoting it by using controversial means helped them boost their subscriber count, but at the cost of triggering adverse reactions. Their manager even alluded to the possibility of them being gay, further adding to the intrigue.
Island Boys got kidnapped. You told me they was doing some sus shit in the room that one day. Niggas was touching each other's penises or
I don't
whatever.
even want to.
Wait, what?
But again, this approach generated more controversy than approval, leading to questions about their desperation to stay relevant. However, making out with each other was not the only degenerate act they committed, as it was revealed that they had a history involving the law. It was news no one expected to hear. Frankie, also known as Kodiak Red, had been arrested for domestic violence.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't do nothing, bro.
Listen, these are the allegations she made against me.
Bro, what allegate? Bro, I put this on God. I put this on God, bro.
According to Frankie's girlfriend, they argued at the pool of their Airbnb after she threatened to break up with him due to his physically abusive behavior. Frankie allegedly struck her across the face and shoved her into the shallow part of the pool, subsequently resulting in her hitting her chin on the concrete floor below. Police noticed the body markings matching her description and took Frankie into custody before releasing him 24 hours later. He took to Instagram to announce his release with a caption to defend himself. "Free now. Missed everybody. Is not what it seems, y'all. Love and peace and prosperity. That what life is about. 24-hour lockdown and fighting demons. Nobody cared, now they do." This incident with the law, coupled with their controversial online behavior, has led many to view the Island Boys negatively. It tarnished their image and made their climb back to relevancy even more challenging, making their claim of living the good life harder to swallow. Because how could they claim to be so successful and fulfilled when engaging in behavior that leads to legal consequences? The Island Boys were also involved in multiple public scandals and gossip regarding their behavior. Notably, they were observed at a Jake Paul boxing match against Tyron Woodley, throwing their shoes and spitting at spectators. These disgraceful behaviors provoked such an adverse reaction that they were booed and had objects thrown at their head, prompting security to escort them out of the arena. In the aftermath of these incidents, the public perception of the duo changed drastically. The boys were increasingly viewed as laughingstock rather than celebrated figures. But why were they acting like this? Why were they so hated and laughed at? Well, it wasn't just because of their money troubles and law problems. It also had much to do with their talent in the music industry, or rather, lack thereof. Because to many, their instant fame seems somewhat unjustified, going viral overnight not for any particular talent or creative output, but for a freestyle that many found cringeworthy. The perception of them as talentless idiots, exploiting social media algorithms for their own gain, didn't sit well with the masses. Sustaining their fame and relevancy hinged on building a loyal fan base, an uphill task without any quality music. It's one thing for people to view their content for amusement, but quite another for them to become true fans of their music. Most accomplished musicians are recognized for their talent, dedication, and constant strive for improvement. However, the Island Boys seem disinterested in honing their craft. Their music seemed simplistic, repetitive, and needed more meaningful content.
My island boy, I've been trying to make it.
Their perception grew that they were more engrossed in flamboyant displays rather than in producing quality music. As a result, their lack of musical talent started to become glaringly obvious. They were unable to retain their fanbase or attract new followers. As their fame began to wane, their efforts to stay relevant increasingly seemed like desperate grasps at straws. Despite their shortcomings and a trail of controversies, the Island Boys held on to their dream of making a fortune from their music, merchandise sales, and brand partnerships. However, their revenue fell far, far below their expectations. In addition, their inadequacies were not only confined to the recording studio, because their live performances have also attracted heavy criticism. Their lack of rhythm, pitch, and overall stage presence rendered their shows far from captivating, leading to instances of them being booed off stage, further eroding their credibility as serious artists. An infamous incident was at a club where the audience chose to talk amongst themselves, completely ignoring the Island Boys' presence on stage.
And I'm just trying to make it, or I'm an island boy. I put my vest down, yeah. Hey, I'm an island.
However, their arrogance and lack of humility in the face of criticism was another significant impediment to their success, further distancing them from potential fans. Because instead of taking critique constructively or showing any signs of growth, the brothers typically reacted with dismissive or aggressive behaviors. This refusal to absorb criticism and learn from it only reinforced their image of them being immature, entitled, and lacking self-awareness. Far from taking this feedback and employing it for self-improvement, they shrugged it off. They acted like they were on top of the world, like they didn't need to change. There was a glaring disparity between the persona they strive to project and their actual reality, because while they sought to be perceived as successful artists, they needed to invest the required effort to truly become one. The more they disregard the criticism, the more precarious their situation grew, because according to their manager, they had a chance to make something of their fame, to use it to build a career, but instead, they let their egos get in the way. They were too proud to admit their mistakes and too stubborn to change. A notable instance was their infamous interaction with George Janko on the Impulsive podcast. In the episode, Janko offered them sound advice about leveraging their virality into a sustainable career and investing their money in wiser purchases to prevent their financial situation from returning to its state a few years back. This resulted in the Island Boys taking offense to George's advice and walking off the podcast, believing they had no saying merely because George makes less money than them.
God forbid it doesn't go in your guys' direction. For real. I think you guys take all of your jewelry assets and invest it in something. So you guys will never ever be broke again.
George, stop talking. We have multiple.
Wait, that was hey, that was for you guys.
Yeah, you
That wasn't like a hate shot.
I don't need financial advice
we don't
when I
need
probably make more money
financial
than you.
For a
Hey,
second.
George.
Hold on. No, hold on.
Hold on. Podcast.
No,
Here, I'm moving for you. I was giving you nice advice, bro.
I agree with that.
However, unfortunately for the Island Boys, George eventually turned out to be entirely right. The Island Boys will never recover from reportedly making over $50,000 a month to now being in hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt with no more income streams, especially since one of their representatives has filed a lawsuit because the boys had never paid the money they owe. Perhaps, if their music contained some innovation, they would still have a chance at reviving their career. However, they relied too heavily on their viral fame, not realizing that novelty wears off rapidly in the fast-paced world of social media. To stay relevant, you must constantly evolve, adapt, and bring something new to the table. The public's reaction to the Island Boys' music had been, in a word, unforgiving. Their song, I'm an Island Boy, while initially generating significant buzz, due to its arguably catchy and repetitive tune, soon became the source of jokes online. TikTok users didn't hold back from ridiculing their songs, tattoos, haircuts, and general appearance. They freely parodied the song, contributing to a stream of memes that predominantly served to mock rather than praise the twins' musical efforts.
I'm an island bird, and I'm trying to make it.
Oh, I'm an island boy. I'm an island boy doing.
Notably, even prominent figures in the music industry have expressed their criticism of the Island Boys' musical abilities. In one occurrence, they were openly ridiculed by Snoop Dogg and Kevin Hart.
I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy.
I'm speechless. Two goofballs in the pool.
Fly Soldier retaliated to the mockery by threatening Snoop Dogg, vowing to beat his ass on sight.
Listen, if Snoop Dogg would have said that to me in real life, on set I would have faded. I would have beat his ass on everything. I swear to God, my life I would have.
The struggle of the Island Boys to convert their online fame into genuine respect or appreciation emphasizes the stark truth that viral popularity doesn't guarantee enduring success. Their music's lack of innovation and refusal to accept constructive feedback has cast a shadow over their potential to build a sustainable career out of their initial viral fame. The Island Boys find themselves at crucial crossroads. Will they evolve, take on feedback, and focus on building their music career with sincerity and humility, or will they continue down a path that might alienate potential fans and allies?